follows value. The most difficult thing to change in life is your habits and your thinking. So for you to start thinking that, hey, money only comes from me working physically, to the fact that no, money comes from value. And when it comes from value, you realize that value is in the eyes of those who need it. So when you start thinking only about how much they are going to pay, you are missing the point. Think first about value. Because when you build a chest of significant value, when you are able to generate the knowledge and the value that can solve a problem, at that point, the person with that problem, you don't know how bad their pain is. They are ready to pay anything that you ask them to solve that pain. It's as simple as that. So learn value, because value is what permits you to transform people, to give people the ability to move from point A to point B. I'll give you a story, very interesting story. Everybody who is online, I want to congratulate you for investing in yourself. All right. The new currency of this generation are two things: knowledge and skill. You acquire knowledge, you develop skill, and the overarching power of combustible acceleration is action and implementation consistently. When you get the skill, you get the knowledge, you take action. Take action. And that is what generates that momentum, and it puts you in a place where you can go forward. Dr. Dimo, money follows value. And it's a very difficult mindset switch. So you have to force yourself to continuously be thinking like that. You have to force yourself to continuously be thinking like that until you get that final mindset switch. And why it's difficult is because a lot of times people are not patient. The most difficult thing to change in life is your habits and your thinking. Those are the most difficult things to change. So for you to start thinking that, hey, money only comes from me working physically, to the fact that no, money comes from value. And when it comes from value, you realize that value is in the eyes of those who need it. I'll give you a story, very interesting story. I was watching a program one time, and this guy was on a YouTube, one of these YouTube videos. And this gentleman basically talks about weird investments that don't make sense to a common man, but make sense to millionaires. And in one of these videos, he walked into an art gallery in New York. And he was explaining to people that one of the most steady investments you can make is investing in art. Because today you have companies that give you a chance to buy shares in art collections and things like that. Art, the value of art generally doesn't change much. It only goes up. It's a hedge against inflation. When inflation comes or the stock market is dropping, art value doesn't change much. So he went into an art gallery and he said, you know what, guys? I need you to accompany me to understand how these guys get to plan, how they get to price the art. What is it they use? What mechanism do they use? Because on other products in life, generally, you can say the cost of raw materials was this, the cost of labor was X, the transportation was X, and then I put 20% on it, that is the price. There is a logical process to that, right? He said in art, he wants to understand. So he walked into the gallery, and there was an ad on the wall costing $110 million. And on it, they wrote a note on it saying sold. But of course, they always don't put the name of the person who bought it. And he went to the art gallery owner and he said, Mr. Curator, how do you determine the price of $110 million for this art? And the guy said something which is very interesting. He said, I don't determine that. That is the price the buyers are willing to pay. Because they perceive the value of that art to be $110,000. Stay with me, guys. I'm going somewhere with this. So when you start thinking only about how much they are going to pay, you are missing the point. You are thinking about money. No. Think first about value. Because when you build a chest of significant value, when you are able to generate the knowledge and the value that can solve a problem, at that point, the person with that problem, you don't know how bad their pain is. They are the ones telling you what they are ready to pay anything that you ask them to solve that pain. It's as simple as that. What if you lost your job today? How long will you be able to hang on? Is your emergency fund able to give you 6 months of leeway? Or are you like most people who, if they lose their job, they are 1 month away from financial disaster? Listen, I know you're working hard. I know you show up every day, but it doesn't feel like anything is changing. You feel stuck. And the reason why you feel stuck is because most people earn more, but lifestyle inflation eats it up. No one ever taught you how to build wealth. Your income isn't the wealth. Your income is a seed. It might not create freedom if you don't duplicate it. But here is the good news. Here is what I want to tell you today. I have created the Paycheck to Prosperity seminar, and I am inviting you to that seminar on Saturday, the 2nd of August, for a small investment of $97. You'll be able to break free from the paycheck loop and finally take control of your money. How to shift from saver to wealth builder with a proven intentional strategy. How to increase your income without quitting your 9 to 5 or working more hours. How to find your best path to prosperity based on your income, goals, and lifestyle. How to move from confusion to confidence with money decisions that build real wealth and get practical tools and live support to build your system and stay consistent. If you're ready for that shift, don't hesitate. Click in the link below and go ahead and register for this life-changing seminar. I'll see you on the inside. They say, you know what? People will say they have many problems in life until you fall sick. You have only one problem. What? Today, if I ask you, you tell me, okay, oh, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. Just wait until you fall sick. Now, the solution to that, you will pay anything, right? Yeah. People sell their houses, people sell their cars, people take their 401ks to treat themselves because that problem is important enough to be solved. So don't worry yet about money, guys. Don't worry about money. Where the beef is in value. You see, what we do online today, we do people coming to give you information. We continue to give you value because in this generation, we have decided that there is no gatekeeping. We are not here trying to hide. There is no secret. The things Dr. Edimo and myself can teach you how to open your portfolio, how to do things like that. You can go to YouTube and learn it, but you know where the difference really lies? It's the fact that there are things that we have experienced that we know how it's going to work. And that is where the difference lies. That is the value. That is the additional piece of knowledge that makes the difference. Remember, information is free. Transformation is what people pay for. So learn value because value is what permits you to transform people, to give people the ability to move from point A to point B. Now, I think something important also to understand because one of the things that challenges a lot of people when they get into investing, especially on the stock market, especially us, people from continents and countries who are immigrants, who come from countries of relative difficulty. We are least patient. Warren Buffett, who is actually considered one of the greatest investors ever, he just resigned as chairman and chief executive officer of Berkshire Hathaway, which is a company and investment firm that he founded. Warren Buffett made 99% of his wealth after the age of 50. And to give you perspective, he started investing at the age of 11. Okay? Yep. He created his firm at the age of 22 or 23. So it's about 20 years later that he really started, 30 years later, that he really started seeing massive acceleration of his investments. So that is exactly what this power means. Which means therefore what? It means therefore that the people who benefit from this system of investing that we preach about a lot, which is the investment of patience and time, right? Are the people who benefit the most don't benefit from the beginning. That is why investing, especially in the stock market and investing in the way we preach about and we coach people to, is for people who understand what patience is all about. We all are very young people. I'm 48 years, so I'm probably the oldest today relative to everybody who is on the line. Edimo is my younger brother, right? I talk about 10, 15, 20-year horizons. I don't talk about 2 years. If I'm buying an investment, I'm not buying an investment for 2 years. I don't have no business with that. I am thinking of when I turn 68 years old, for example. At that age, maybe I can be sick. By God's grace, I will not be sick. But if I'm a little sick, which is normal, maybe a little ailment here, your back pain, your knee pain, I'm 6'4", 270 pounds. I'm a big guy. If I'm sick, that is fine, right? It can happen at that age. If I start getting old and feeling it in my body, it's normal. We all are going to get old at some point. But if I am broke, that is my fault. Then if I am broke and sick and old, boy, that is a burden on generations to come. And I don't want to be a burden on anybody. And the only way I can do that is by not only planning for that time, but leveraging vehicles that can accelerate and multiply my work. because my physical body can only do one thing at once. In the next hour we spend with you, we can only do this, talk to you. We cannot do nothing else. Hey guys, just a brief break from regular programming. You see, most human beings, if you really go deep into their heart's desire, they want three things. They want to live a life of growth and development in order to be relevant. They want to be able to build wealth and also leave behind a legacy that will last for perpetuity. In my Guarantee Your Legacy program, which is a custom designed program, I answer these three questions and more for you. I have limited availability on that program. It's an 8 weeks program whereby we meet once a week one-on-one with me. In addition to that, I'll walk through the different critical things that you need to be able to grow as a person, to be able to become relevant, to be able to impact people in order to create a legacy. And in doing that, you can also build wealth. If you already have it, I can teach you how to protect it, preserve it, so that way it lasts for perpetuity. Don't hesitate. If you would like to learn more about that program, click on the link down in the description section of this video, and I sure will see you on the inside. Let's go back to the regular program. This strategy is how the 1% understand how this thing works. Right? It's important that we step back a little bit, because one of the things that really affects us as a people, I will say this: number one, it's a good thing, but sometimes it gets in the way, because a lot of immigrants, especially African immigrants coming to America, about 40 to 45% of them have a GED. Another 30% has a university education up to a degree. Another 20-something% has graduate degrees, masters and PhDs and things. It's a good thing, but one of the challenges we are facing is that we overanalyze. We start thinking and complicating things too much because we are educated. We start always asking, what is the catch? What is the thing in this thing? There must be some secret. That is why I will tell you today, if you ask many people to start investing 200 on the stock market, they will tell you this, that. But those same people have heard about some scheme that you put 10,000, you will get 25,000, they go put money in it. You know why? Because it touches the point where it seems like they're smarter than everybody. I just want to do 1, 2 things, and once I make it like that, it means I'm smarter. I know things that everybody doesn't know. There is no secret here. Dr. Edimo and myself, we don't want secrets. We don't believe in no secrets. We are not gatekeepers. We are sharing everything that is working. And the things that are working are not difficult stuff. Simple things. Don't overthink it. You don't need a bachelor's degree. You don't need a master's. You don't need a PhD. You don't need to be some intelligent guy. No, forget it. In fact, the people who succeed the most on the stock market are dumb people. The people we call dumb. You know what? Mr. Reed, that's his name. And you can Google it. Anybody who is on the line. Mr. Reed left 8 million. Mr. Reed janitor left $8 million. Google it. This guy worked as a janitor. An average janitor today in America makes under $40,000 a year. So I don't even know what he made in those days, because he died in 2014, right? So he probably made less than that in his career. But this guy was able to buy about 13 stocks and 1 or 2 mutual funds. And he was able to buy it consistently, never missing a week of purchasing for about 30-something years. And when he died, he had a portfolio of $8-point-something million, which he gave as charity to his community, universities, and things like that. So I asked myself, if Mr. Reed, making $30-something thousand a year, can be able to build a portfolio like that because of one simple thing: 2, discipline and consistency, and he let compound interest do the rest of the work for him. Don't try to overthink it. Don't bring your chemistry that you know and your physics in this thing. It's not good. It's not needed. We don't need it. I think one of the things that is really important to understand is, why are we doing what we do? Why are we spending our time talking to people about this stuff? I really believe that as a people, especially from the continent of Africa, the only way we can advance, number one, is if everybody is able to understand how to leverage their physical energy and their work in a fashion that duplicates the returns on that. And number 2, we talk a lot about generational wealth, generational wealth, generational wealth. But very few people walk as if they mean it. Generational wealth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because one person gets up and says, I am going to change the story of my family name. Come rain, come shine, come sun, I am going to change that story. And when you want to change that story, the story is not only being changed by what you make, but it is by what you can multiply. Because that's where people miss it. People believe a lot in what they make, but they don't realize that what you make is only for a short period of time when you are physically capable. The stock market is actually one of the rare places that I know where people instead hate to buy things when it's on sale. I've never seen that kind of thing. I have to be honest with you. I've never seen it, right? It's like each time you go into a store, maybe Macy's or Score or any of these or a Total gas station store, wherever you are in the world. Most of the times, myself included, when I go into Marshalls or any of these stores, I go straight to the clearance rack. That's why I head to. I want the 70-80% off because I believe that if something was $100 and now they're selling it to me for $20, I mean, I'm getting a deal. You would imagine that that same thinking, that same mindset applies to the stock market. But no, it doesn't. Because people tend to sell when the prices are dropping and then they tend to buy when the prices have started rising. So which means that you have a share, a stock of maybe $100, it drops to 80, you sell it at 80, and then you turn around next month when it starts rising, you start trying to buy it at 110. Now you are if you behave that way, I want to tell you this. Please, you are not dumb. You are not stupid. You are not crazy. You are not an outcast. You are part of the majority who haven't understood the emotion and the psychology of investing in the stock market. This is what I want to tell you. You need to realize every time you think about investing in the stock market, especially, always think about it from the perspective of what history says. History says if you keep doing it without doing anything else, over time you'll come out a winner. And that has three advantages. Number one, you don't have to deal with the emotion and the psychological trauma of trying to time the market because nobody knows when stocks are going to drop. Let me tell you today, let nobody lie to you. There is nobody that has a magical crystal ball that can tell you stocks will drop, it will rise today to this price. No, people only project based on certain indicators. It could be behaviors because the stock market works on the human behavior, on human action. So to avoid all of those things, what you need to do is two things. Number one, you make sure you apportion a certain amount of money that you spend buying stocks every day or every week. Dr. Dimo and I, we have portfolios where we buy every day. Even if it's $1, I buy $1 of it every day. Now, you also have to apportion that money to make sure that you automate it so that you don't have to look at the portfolio. Every day it is doing the job for you. And what that does, it does one very important thing. It is called dollar cost averaging. What dollar cost averaging means is simple. It means that over a period of time, based on based on the price you've been buying the share, you tend to get it at a lower price. What I mean is that, let's say you buy the share today for $300. Next week, Donald Trump comes out with a tweet and the market drops and the price of the share goes down to 250. You buy one for 250. It really means you will spend 550 for two shares instead of 600 if the price stood at 300. The next week it goes down to 200, you buy. The next week it rises now to $400, you buy. After a certain amount of time, you will realize that your average cost is lower, and that average cost is basically what is indicating the difference between what the share cost and what your average cost is. That difference in between is what is your profit. That is the reason why we advocate a lot about automating and buying all the time, because you can never know when the price is going to go down or go up. Your only job is to stay in the market for as long as possible. I think for the people who were able to join, make sure you get other people to know about this. But most importantly, too, drop in the comment if you have some specific topics or things you want us to address. We will gladly do that, right? This is pro bono work for us. And we don't do it. It's not it's not a job for us. It's our work because this is what we're born to do. This is what we are called to do. So it's a great pleasure for us to see transformation in your life. Our goal is to make sure that you find value in what we are doing. Great plumping pleasure. Thank you for your time.